Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
Welcome to Financial Issues. This is Winning Wednesday, and this is Financial Issues is where we help you defund the darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. I'm your host, Mark Minnella, and joining me is Seth Uditsky on the soundboard and in the control room.
Mark, good morning,
Seth,
brother.
Good morning. Thank you for stepping up again. Do you miss Sam yet?
I miss him a lot. I was talking to him on the phone today. I was like, dude, I miss my office mate. I miss my brother. Mark, I am excited, though. God willing, Sam's going to be back tomorrow. So his back
praise
is
God.
up. He's on his way home, so we're excited for that. So, folks, if you've missed Sam, not to worry. He's on his way, God willing.
Yeah, and he'll probably be listening to the show this morning. So if you miss him, just call in and say, hey, Sam, we miss you.
I mean, why
the number is 610-363-1110.
Why would he not listen to the show, Mark? Right?
Why would he
why would
not?
anyone
exactly.
not listen to the show?
Why?
It's an awesome
That's
time.
the better question. Why would anybody not? Not that I could think of any reasons, but so, hey, if you want to join the live conversation, all he has to do is listen live Monday through Friday from 9:05, is it Eastern time?
Yeah, 9:05 Eastern time, Mark.
That's 8:05 Central time where I'm at. And boy, for those people out in California, we're so proud of you getting up just to listen to the show. Thank you for doing that. Give us a call today, 610-363-1110. We look forward from hearing from you. You know, we got a few stories that we're going to talk about today. Hopefully we'll get to them all. Or, you know what? Hopefully we won't. Hopefully the phones will just be so lit up. We don't have time for almost anything but to just kibitz with our partners and our friends who are watching and listening. But today, our top stories are the poverty line. According to some new reports, it may be a lot different than you think. And great news. This is part of Winning Wednesday. LGBTQ influence over the culture, well, it's waning, and we're going to look into that and see where it's waning and why. Also, is AI the only hope for getting out of debt? Well, the wealthiest man in the world thinks so. We were going to try and bring that to you yesterday, but we didn't get to it. So today we're going to touch on that. But first, pressing story.
It is pressing, Mark, indeed. The ins and outs of year-end giving. I know, Mark, a lot of people have been wondering about this. With the end of the year coming up, we're, about 3 weeks till Christmas, so it's about 4 weeks until New Year's Eve. So I think it'd be a good idea for us to talk about this, Mark, when we're talking about IRAs, less than 30 days till the end of the year. I wish it was 30 years. That'd be a lot of time. Mark, what do we need to know about giving, particularly out of an IRA? Why don't we start there? Yeah,
that deadline is really important. A lot of giving has to be done before the end of the year, not just the implementing it, but it has to be fulfilled. For example, one of the areas I'd like to talk about today is the qualified retirement accounts, how to use those and to maximize your benefits and to maximize your giving. And, there's a little thing called a QCD, a qualified charitable distribution. And unfortunately, it's only for those who are over 70 and a half years old. So I don't want you tuning out if you're not 70 and a half, because we're going to talk about other strategies as well. But the best strategy, if you're old enough to do it, over 70 and a half years old, is a qualified charitable distributions, utilizing that law, that tax law that allows you to do some special thing. One of the things it does is you utilize your IRA, your traditional IRA or a beneficiary IRA or one of those IRAs that you have, and it allows you to take money out of that, give it to a qualified 501c3, donate it to them directly from your IRA, and then not count it towards your income, but count it towards your RMD, your required minimum distribution. So you're hitting a couple of really nice things in there while you're doing a nice thing. And so what happens is it's excluded from your taxable income. That means normally when you take money out of your IRA, it goes right on top of all the income that you have. And then if you just took a distribution, put it in your bank account, and then wrote a check to your church or to a 501c3 ministry that is in line with God's tenets of love, you get the deduction if you are itemizing, but you also would have had to claim that on your taxes. With a QCD, it doesn't count towards your taxable income. You don't have to claim it as taxable income, so it doesn't increase your taxability. It counts towards your RMD. So if you have an RMD of whatever the number is, if you give that amount through a QCD, you end up fulfilling your RMDs for the year, and you can do so much more, including for 2025, you can give up to $108,000 from your IRA through QCD giving, and that's cool. So here's one way not to just keep postponing taxes to the future, but to eliminate them is by using your traditional IRAs to donate money to one of the ministries or one of the many areas, your church, anywhere that it is a qualified 501c3 type of institution, where you can now move the money out of the IRA without having to pay taxes on it into a charitable entity and count it towards your RMDs. It's just wonderful. It's 108 this year. It's 2026. It'll be 115,000. Now, this is why it was pressing, because the distributions must be completed by December 31st. Completed. That means not only did you turn the paperwork in or coordinate with your platform, your investment platform, and the 501c3 that you're trying to donate to, the ministry you're trying to donate to, but they have received it by that time, and it's out of your accounts, it's gone. So that's why it's a pressing news story, is if you're going to do into your giving, if you're 70 and a half or older and you want to maximize your giving, this is one way to do that.
Mark, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because when I think of a deadline, especially when we're talking about like old-fashioned snail mail, usually the thought is as long as it's dated, say it's a check, as long as it's dated by the time it needs to be there, it doesn't matter when it gets there or not. But you're saying, no, everything has to be completed by December 31st.
Yeah, that's the way the rules read to me.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of pressing. I know it's only the 3rd, but sometimes platforms can take a little longer than necessary to get things done. So, a few steps. One, identify the ministry you want to give to. Make sure they qualify. They're a 501c3. They do meet the requirements of the law. 2, get a hold of your platform. Talk to them. Tell them what you want to do and how much you want to do and where you want it to go. And then they'll get the paperwork, whether it's digitally or not, in order for you. And then it'll get out and hopefully make it. Also, remember, many platforms will say, well, maybe the law says that it has to be completed by December 30, by the end of the year, but we need it done by the 15th of December, or the paperwork started, or, things in by this time. So you want to check with your platform, whether it's Fidelity, Schwab, or whoever it may be, to make sure that they don't have a deadline of their own that precedes the government deadline for getting stuff done.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's worth mentioning this. Robert in the chat was just saying that he just finished his first QCD this year. Took him a little longer than he thought. Robert was saying it was about 1 to 2 weeks. Robert, I think you're using Fidelity, if I'm not mistaken. So just keep that in mind, folks. It might take a little bit longer.
There you go.
Yep.
So get on it. Get on it. That's the key. Get on it. Okay. So we're talking about that. What about it? What if you're not 70 and a half? Well, you still could use your traditional IRA, but the reality is the IRS sees it as normal income. And even if the entire amount passes directly to ministry, this increases your taxable income, which for some people could affect their Medicare costs and their Social Security withholdings and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of tough. And the majority of people don't even itemize, and you have to be able to itemize to take that deduction. So you may or may not get a deduction back if you take it out of your traditional IRA. So be careful about that. Talk to your tax guy about that. And if we can, let's just touch a little bit on a Roth IRA. Withdrawals from a Roth are already tax-free, so you're not getting any additional benefit for using your Roth to do this. Giving from a Roth doesn't create extra benefits. I I kind of think a Roth might be better to preserve for your heirs or for future needs, and then give from other sources, including your income and things like that. It may be a better idea on the way to give. But however you give, end of year is right here, and we need to be on top of it. We need to start looking at, okay, when am I finally going to give for the end of the year, to make sure that you're getting the most deductions from it, and doing the best you can as you do good. Do good as you're doing good, I guess, is a good way to say that. And we got a whole lot coming up here in the show. We hope you'll stay with us. The number here is 610-363-1110, and we want you to join us. The lines are open, and we're looking forward to talking to you as we get into some really interesting news and other questions that have been submitted. Look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Are you tired of chaos? There are a lot of things that make noise, but only a few that truly matter. As a parent, I want to leave something that will last for a long time.
You invest $300 a month increase on slowly big by the time you retire.
Not just an inheritance of money, but a legacy of godly values.
Here at Financial Issues, we want to help you grow your money, but our main goal is to help you honor God with the money that He's given you.
Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
Preborn is making motherhood possible for thousands of moms across America.
I found out that I was pregnant. My family, they were like, no, you're not having this baby. I met Miss Linda. She offered to get me an ultrasound. That's where I very first heard the heartbeat. It was really a great thing that I was led to the choice to keep him.
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Welcome back. I'm Mark Minnella. This is Financial Issues, and this is Winning Wednesday. And we have a really interesting article about that. But first, we want to talk about a few things. Like, one of the things is our sponsor in part today is Preborn, one of my favorite ministries. You have to remember that there's a lot of people who want to help moms to keep their babies, but there's very few who also help them understand who Jesus Christ is in their life and the power of God in their life, and also help them financially when they need it, when the baby comes. So this is a ministry that does all three, that we're very proud and honored to be able to come alongside of and partner with Preborn. Take a look at it on our site. Just go out to Financial Issues and take a look at our partner site. It's so incredible what they're doing and how they're doing it.
And
anyway,
Mark, to kind of bring back the conversation for what you talked about in the first segment, folks, if you're trying to get over the step of looking where I should be giving, if you're trying to give out of your IRA, Preborn would be a great ministry to do so.
You nailed
great
it.
Ministry.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Seth. That would be one worth giving to. Absolutely. And we have another interesting, I think one economist called it silly, but tell us about this.
Yeah, this is real interesting, Mark. So it caught my eye when we saw this. So some economists are now claiming that the new poverty line is $140,000 a year for a family of four. Now, to be clear,
right,
Mark.
So let's stop right there.
Yeah.
So if you make less than $140,000 a year in income, this Michael Green is telling us that you're living in poverty?
Michael Green is the guy's name. So, Mark, the federal government sets the poverty line for a family of four at about $32,000 a year, which that makes a little bit more sense. But this guy is claiming it's actually should be about $140,000 a year because he was saying, so here's his argument, the poverty line is based on a 1960s formula, 3 times the cost of a minimum food diet in 1963, adjusted for inflation. Now, he's claiming food has become cheaper as a share of household spending, but costs for housing, healthcare, childcare, college, and transportation have soared. Here's what he said, Mark, and I quote, in 2024, food at home is no longer 33% of household spending. For most families, it's 5 to 7%. Housing now consumes 35 to 40%. Healthcare takes 15 to 20%. Childcare for families with young children is about 20 to 40%. There's another economist, like you said, Mark, Noah Smith, says this argument is very silly. He's saying that the available data actually shows most Americans have adequate food, housing, healthcare, and transportation. This guy also argues, some of the items that Green includes. Now, Green is the guy who is in favor of $140,000 being the poverty line, like childcare, are not universal necessities. True for me, Mark, because my wife homeschools our kids, so it's free childcare. But Mark, what do you think about this? Because when I saw this, I am below this. My family is below this. I have a family of 5. So I thought, wow, I don't feel like it, but am I impoverished? Interesting.
Well, there's so much wrong here. And I really appreciate Noah Smith saying this is very silly. First of all, define poverty. And that's not what this gentleman, Michael Green, is doing. I wonder how he got the name economist also. Why do they call him an economist if he's being so silly, throwing in items and things that have nothing to do with poverty or wealth? Like going to college isn't a necessity. It isn't part of everyday life unless you want to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist. But that's not part of whether you're living in poverty or not. Poverty has what he's trying to do is redefine what poverty is. And what he's saying poverty is not being able to live like Elon Musk. Well, I think that's a little silly. I used to do talks at churches, and hopefully we'll be doing some again. But when I would ask people, how many people here are wealthy, almost no hands go up. And then I'd ask them, okay, how many of you have a house or shelter? And almost all hands would go up. How many of you have a vehicle? All hands would go up. How many of you have 2 vehicles? About 2/3 would go up. How many of you have 3 vehicles? About half would go up. And it just... how many of you have cable? Almost all hands would go up. Now, maybe some of the younger people listening, cable is what we had before we had streaming. Just to make that clear.
Mark, was that in the age of the dinosaurs? No, I'm just kidding.
The
Old Testament era.
Exactly. So effectively what it came down to was all those people who did not believe they were wealthy or did not believe they were middle class, who actually thought they were at poverty or below, were living a luxury life of air conditioning, heating, shelter. The number one cause of death was obesity. They had cable, they had TV, they had gaming consoles, and they had multiple cars, telephones. This is not poverty. This is not poverty. Poverty, the idea of the poverty line, understanding what poverty is, was so we could help those who tried and failed, who are unable to feed themselves and their families, who are unable to shelter themselves and their families, who can't clothe their family and themselves. This isn't about living a luxury life. This is saying, okay, there's a level where existence is no longer worth living. That's the poverty line. And not there's a level where I don't get all the channels I want on my cable TV. That's not poverty. That is greed. That is just luxury at that point. So we need to realize that this gentleman obviously isn't an economist. He's trying to redefine what it means to be in poverty, and he's trying to use that to use the government to start subsidizing everybody's lifestyle. Imagine you're making $140,000 a year, and you can get food stamps, you can get Section 8 housing, you could get up to $60,000 in benefits, like somebody can who's living below $32,000 a year. That makes no sense whatsoever. I believe that the gentleman who Noah Smith, who called Green's argument very silly, was being very, very kind to this gentleman. In fact, I'm working real hard not to say things like how idiotic it is and how ridiculous it is. And if we look into this gentleman, I don't know. I haven't done it yet, but I believe if we looked into him, we'd find out he's a left-wing socialist trying to destroy our government.
Mark, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because there is something sinister behind this. That if you label something as impoverished, that then opens the door to allow the good old benevolent government to come in and save the day and start subsidizing everything and everyone. That's really good to see, brother.
And setting up NGOs to wash money through, so only 2 cents on the dollar get to those impoverished under 140,000. The rest goes back into the coffers of those politicians who set it up.
Yeah,
crazy stuff. There's some ugliness going on here.
Now, Mark, make some sense for me with this here, because this is something that I've wondered. Someone who makes a decent lifestyle, let's just say that number that he gave, 140,000. Say they make 140,000 a year, but they're $300,000 in debt because they kind of did the whole, I got my first big paycheck, I'm going to live like a rich person, and they put down, money on a car, and they have student loans, all that stuff, and technically their net worth is negative. Do they count as impoverished because technically they have a negative net worth, even though they have all these luxuries?
Yeah, I haven't seen this Michael Green's article. I just have the summary of it, and my guess is he'd say if you have debt, it's not your fault. If you have $1 million of debt and you only have 140,000 or 200,000 of income, you should be able to get your food stamps, and you shouldn't have to pay that debt. It's not your fault that people lent it to you. So just the opposite of biblical principles of pay what you owe, give on, don't withhold payment if you have it. I mean, that's what the Bible tells us. And the Bible warns us about debt. You shouldn't be that hard in debt. I know we all stumble, we all make mistakes, but there's ways to get out of debt, which we're going to talk about after the new year as well. So, no, I think we're actually spent way too much time on this economist, Michael Green, because I don't believe he's an economist. I don't believe he's anything but a left-wing socialist trying to destroy our country by overburdening it with giving benefits to everybody who, no matter what income you have. Next, he'll be coming out and saying if you don't have a Mercedes-Benz, you deserve special relief or something. It's just
right.
Silly.
And calling it relief is huge, because you'll have people say, "Oh yeah, this is relief. They're helping me."
Won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?
That is awesome.
Sorry.
That was actually free, folks. Speaking of free stuff, that was awesome, Mark. That's great. Mark,
the number here. Let's give out the number again. Seth, I haven't heard you say it in a while.
I think,
Let's hear
it's been a while, Mark. Let's see if I can remember it. 610-363-1110. Folks, if you think you're impoverished, even though you may make six figures, call in and tell us why. Or call in and tell us why this guy is rather silly. 610-363-1110. Mark, how about a palate cleanser here? You want to get to one of our questions?
Well, yeah, but first, tomorrow's a special day, Seth. We have our partners call going on tomorrow.
Thank you, Mark. That's exactly right. Partner conference call tomorrow. Folks, mark your calendars. Remember, it's the first Thursday of every month now. And so tomorrow's first Thursday of December, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central Time. That means 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Please join us tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. Mark, I always look forward to our conference calls just because I like listening to your wisdom. wisdom. I like getting to hear you, talk about what's going on in the economy. We can do, get a little bit deeper than we're able to from time constraints here on the live show. So I do hope everybody will join tomorrow. If you can't make it, it'll be posted afterwards. But why put it off to listen to later when you can join us live? Mark?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be fun, especially this time of year. The December partner call, just to me, I'm up for it. I think it's great. It's going to be fun. It's December. It's celebration time. And there's a lot going on in the market we're going to be talking about. So it's going to be a fun call, and hopefully a very informative one as well for all our partners.
Yeah. And Mark, I'll say this once more. For partners, you should have gotten an email, I believe it was sent out yesterday, that has the call-in information and the access code on it. If you did not get that email, number one, check your spam folder. If you can't find it there, go on the website, partner side of the website, and go to the alerts page. It should be the latest alert that's there. So check that out. If you're not a partner and you're listening to this and you want to join, now's a great time to do it. You can do that at financialissues.org. So looking forward to that tomorrow, Mark. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. I'm looking forward to it as well. And I'm looking forward to our phone queues getting filled up as we start to go to this break here. We have about a few slots open. So the number is 610-363-1110. We want you to call in and join us. There's so much to talk about. Are you in 140,000 or below poverty? Are you feeling it? Do you need some food stamps? Or what do you think about that argument? Also, it's Winning Wednesday. If you have something that says, hey, here's a Christian win nobody's talking about, we'd love to hear about that from you too as well. So join us, call us, get in the queue, and we'll get to your calls as soon as we come back from this very short break.
Every day, kids all across America are coming to school with some kind of hidden pain.
I've seen kids come in who are just so confused about what's right and what's wrong, just having no idea that God loves them. And this just breaks my heart. Crossroads has the opportunity to bring the Word of God right into the public school, to reach children right where they are.
And when we see that happen, we see God changing lives.
We want to see kids not only come to Christ, but pursue a lifelong relationship with Him. And so local churches are uniquely positioned to disciple those children as they become young adults and through their lifespan.
Crossroads comes alongside a church and provides that church with a club structure, curriculum, training, and ongoing coaching for them to run these outreaches in public schools.
If you are burdened for the children of America, consider making a donation to Crossroads Kids Club. For more information, visit reachourschools.com. That's reachourschools.com.
Good morning, brother. You're live on Financial Issues.
There's so much I want to say about financial issues. We've been partners since about 2017. We came from a secular mind of investing, had the conviction to change over our portfolio. And since that time, we've been reallocating from a secular to a biblical-minded investment strategy. And with the portfolio asset allocations, it's really made it easy for us to have a portfolio that now works for us. When there's a sell alert, you guys have been researching for the buys, and so there's always something that is available to us to reinvest in. Become a partner, everybody. Become a partner. I also was paying 1% of my portfolio, and $135 is not even a fraction of that percentage.
Invest without compromise. Go to financialissues.org to get started today.
When a woman comes into a center, she's being pressured from her family, from her friends, by her circumstances, by the rhetoric of the culture to believe that this is a quick and easy way out. If a woman sees her baby on ultrasound, it doubles the likelihood that she'll choose life. And on top of that, we share the gospel of Jesus Christ with her. This is why you should support preborn. The donations that you give actually make a difference. Last year, 59,000 babies were saved because of what you have done with your generosity. And so we just encourage you to make a difference at whatever degree you can, whether you can do a $28 contribution for one ultrasound, whether you can underwrite an ultrasound machine for $15,000 or 10 ultrasound machines for $150,000. Where does the Lord have you so that you can make a difference?
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Welcome back, everyone. We're glad you're here with us. The phone number here is 610-363-1110. That's 610-363-1110. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you as we celebrate Winning Wednesday. And before we go there, though, what's the markets looking like, Seth?
Yeah, Mark, the markets finished yesterday. They had a little bit of resolve, actually. They rose moderately. So by the bell, the Dow Jones ended up about a 2/5 of a percentage point. The S&P 500 about a quarter, and the NASDAQ was creeping up towards 2/3 of a full percentage point. So moderately positive day for the markets. They've opened this morning, Mark, slightly down. Looks like Microsoft was dragging the NASDAQ down a little bit. A little bit of a disappointing private payroll number 2. The markets weren't too pleased with that. But then again, Mark, you know what? The markets are I liken them to my 5-year-old daughter. They're kind of like that emotional stability. Actually, I think she's far more emotionally stable than they are, which tells you about what the markets are. But anyway, that's what they're doing.
But we like that because volatility is where we would make money.
That's
the
right.
reality,
That's
if the
exactly
markets
right.
didn't move, we wouldn't be making any money, and we wouldn't be putting God's money to work and profiting from it and utilizing it for glorifying God and utilizing it for his purposes. And on top of that, yesterday was almost all green in the market on major indexes, and today we have a little red. It is Christmas time. Red and green are Christmas colors. So I think the market is celebrating Christmas.
It's exactly right, Mark, as much as they can. But no,
As
Mark,
much
you know
as
what?
they can.
You're exactly
For a
right.
secular institution.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it does, to bring it to, kind of a, serious note, I think the pullback is okay. A little pullback here and there. It's a reminder that, hey, it's not all fool's gold. The markets are going to go up and down. That's just the way it goes.
Well, I was surprised that when we hit that overvaluation peak we did and it started pulling back, it didn't pull back further.
Yeah.
So I'm very comfortable with it dripping. I love the drips and then the gains and then the drips.
Yep.
It helps us to focus in. We can watch the individual stocks, see which ones are really pushing through all that and have opportunity left so that we can continue in on those areas and balance it all out. That's the cool thing about having diversification. You can have multiple stocks over multiple sectors, over multiple asset classes, and we can see which asset classes and sectors are pushing through. Just like we saw where technology was pulling back and dripping that money into healthcare and other defensive areas. That was a good thing because many of our partners were already in those areas. And as this came down a bit, this came up and it helped level that out a bit.
It's awesome, Mark. Hey,
kind of another win, Seth, just like our Winning Wednesday.
Well,
win.
Speaking of which, Mark, I think it's time for Winning Wednesday. We got to get a drop. We got to get a drop.
Why don't we get?
We need to do that.
Yeah.
We need to do that. Anybody in the chat, if you have ideas for a good drop for that Winning Wednesday or a good little ditty we can play. But Mark, today's win, this is a good one. So it looks like LGBT cultural power is waning here. Now, this is something, Mark, we've been keeping an eye on, but there's some specifics here that we didn't get to yet. So this is a new report from the actually pro-LGBT group GLAAD. More than 41% of gay, lesbian, bisexual, sexually degenerate characters featured in the 2024-2025 season of television will not be returning next year. In fact, interestingly enough, of the 33 transgender characters appearing in this year's programming, only 4 of those are expected to return next season. Of course, this comes as last month, Mark, Netflix lost $25 billion in market cap after Elon Musk actually urged his followers to cancel their subscriptions over transgender-related content in children's shows. Mark, I love this. I love this.
Yeah, I do too. I have stopped watching some of my favorite shows because they became nothing more than propaganda for LGBTQ. I thought I was being lectured by my show. Even one of my favorite shows. Last night I saw it on air, and I haven't watched it in a long time. I turned it on, and the whole thing was about gay relationships. There was a story in there somewhere, but the whole thing was on gay relationships, and I thought, now I remember why I stopped watching this, because it's programming. They're trying to program us all to accept everything that is ugly, everything that is dark, everything that is anti-God, anti-biblical. And, we have to be put on our grown-up men pants and our grown-up women pants and start doing the things we need to do. That it takes somebody like Elon Musk to say, hey, get rid of your Netflix membership because of what they're trying to do to your society. It's almost embarrassing for the Christian community to have that happen. Where are the Christian leaders? Not the ones that are having Gay Sunday or LGBT Wednesday night parties. I'm talking about the true Christian leaders that are standing up and saying this is wrong. This is not correct. We shouldn't have this on our television. We shouldn't be programming our children with it. And despite what you think as an adult, it is affecting you as well. We should stop this. Yes, God loves all of us. He wants all of us to come to a saving grace, but he doesn't want us to endorse these things with our dollars. Well, we don't do it in our investments. Why would we do it with our entertainment dollars? Sorry.
It's well said, brother. No, Mark, I'm glad you said. I didn't want to jump in because I love the soapbox, but it's exactly right. And Mark, that was what I wanted to bring up with this. This battle that we are trying to fight here for the culture in using our investor dollars to glorify God, this is part of it. I think this is actually downstream of what we're trying to do here, in that as we pull our investor dollars from evil companies like Netflix. And I don't mind calling them evil because they're engaged in evil things. Yeah, it's exactly right.
I mean, so my wife and I were looking at the rundown on Netflix, all the stuff they produce. Almost all of it was dark.
Yeah.
It was depressing. It was dark. It was promoting everything evil.
It is. Yeah, it's dark supernatural stuff, or it's dark LGBTQ stuff. Mark, I saw a meme on the internet. It was something like kids shows today, and it was this picture of this, infamous Netflix character with like it was like a kids show, and there was like a donkey or something, and the donkey says, "I'm non-binary." And then kids shows 20 years ago, it shows the battle charge from the Chronicles of Narnia, one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's like, why can't we go back to that, right? So,
yeah, and Seth, I really do get tired of the LGBTQ stuff.
Yeah.
But let's be real. The majority of Americans are straight individuals.
Right.
And they're sinning just as badly. A lot if the TV program isn't showing somebody having a gay affair, they're showing men sleeping with multiple women.
Softcore pornography.
Women using sex as a way to get through life and to move up in the tower. I mean, it's just all bad. It's all ugly. We need to get back to the morals of the Bible. Let's start teaching everybody, not just the Christian community. Let's start teaching everybody. Let the influence flow out from us to them, not from them to us. That's what needs to happen again. We need to get back to that happening. So effectively, this win today is a very positive thing in the sense that we see that when we move God's money from under the management of secularism back under the wings of godly stewardship, wonderful and righteous things happen, like the reduction by 41% of sexual immoral characters featured in new productions. That's a good thing.
Amen.
It shows us, he reinforces to us that this is a reality, that the money that he has graciously given us to manage for him can be used in ways that affect the society here and now. And it can actually impact the society in a very positive, righteous way. How nice it would be to have holiday Christmas stuff without being preached to about joining into sexual immorality, but instead preaching about giving and caring for others. It should all be that way. It should all be a wonderful thing like that. And we can do this. Our money has influence. Your money have influence. And I think that's why you're here as a partner, because you want to have influence. And with that said, we have Craig Haugaard coming up here with our weekly report, which I know you've been waiting for, as we have as well.
Yeah, Mark, this one's a interesting one today, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun one here. So
that's what I hear.
Yep. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. This week's Ag Focus, and then after this break, we'll be back with more financial issues.
This is Craig Haugaard with your weekly Financial Issues Ag Focus. Today, I want to talk a little bit about food security. In the mid-90s, I found myself as a guest instructor at the National Agrarian Institute of Kazakhstan. The Soviet Union had collapsed, and this former Soviet satellite was trying to figure out how to transition to a capitalistic form of economics. Working with my translator, I was teaching classes and writing a new free market-based curriculum for the university. I happened to be there for the May Day celebration and ended up at the Eternal Flame in a park in Almaty, Kazakhstan. The flame was to honor those who had served in World War II. As I stood there taking in the ceremony, my interpreter said, "That war was so stupid, we should have never fought it." I replied, "Well, Hitler was a pretty bad dude." Her reply, "Not as bad as Stalin." She then told me that when the war broke out, her grandfather was sent to fight on the Russian front, where he was killed. Her grandmother and their 21 kids were sent to a collective farm to raise wheat for the war effort. 18 of those 21 kids starved to death during the war. Her dad was one of 3 to survive, and he told stories of people being shot on the spot if they even took a few kernels of wheat to eat for themselves. Now, obviously, she and her family viewed food very differently than we do here in the U.S. Very few of us have ever truly experienced starvation or even severe hunger for that matter. We're used to walking into grocery stores that have every type of food that you can imagine, and yet someday famine will come to this nation. I don't know when or how, but Revelation chapter 6 makes it very clear that one day food will not be abundant. In the meantime, let's not take food for granted, and let's adopt a real spirit of thankfulness for the bounty that God is currently blessing us with. This has been Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Ag Focus. We'll be right back with more financial issues after this.
I started investing close to 30 years ago now. All that time, I had never heard anyone talk about setting up your portfolio in a way that glorifies God. When I first heard about it, I was listening to the radio, a show called Financial Issues. They were teaching people how to honor God with their money. I became a partner with Financial Issues, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made. Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
My wife and I helped lead a Crossroads Kids Club, and one of the girls, she said, "Mr. Dave, you keep talking about like you didn't really believe in Jesus and you were like dead or something, and then like you believed in Jesus and then you're like alive, and I want to receive that." And so we like just prayed there in our group to receive Jesus and owning this idea of life with Jesus for the first time.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachourschools.com.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever He calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Welcome back, everyone. The number is 610-363-1110, 610-363-1110. We'd love to have you join us in the queue here. The phones are lighting up. We have a few calls. Why don't we go to the phones?
Yeah, let's do that, Mark. We've got Darren. Darren's calling from Texas.
Well, Darren, welcome to the show. Good morning, sir. Merry Christmas as we approach this wonderful time where we celebrate the birth of our Savior. And what's on your mind?
Well, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I've been a member since, I think, 2017.
Praise God.
It's been, absolutely. I praise the Lord for being a part of the ministry and obviously we miss Dan, but
of course,
you guys have taken the reins, and Lord, it's been a blessing being a part of FISM. And
Thank
so
you.
my question is, yeah, absolutely. You guys are just wonderful, and I see the blessings in my portfolio, and I'm just thankful to the Lord that I came under conviction of biblical investing many years ago. So thanks again.
Praise God for your love of God and desiring to honor Him even with your investments.
Well, my question, Mark, is about a specific consumer staple stock that it's BRBR.
Okay.
It was on the buy list many months ago, and so right now it is looking like a dog in my portfolio. Isn't
it barking at you?
Those pesky dogs, Darren, I tell you.
Yeah, I fully understand what you're saying about BRBR. It has been a rough ride for that. Yeah. What's your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problems. My question is obviously we're all long-term investors.
Right.
And really, considering where I'm at in this position, would it be better to go ahead and just take the loss and consider another consumer staple?
Do you need to take a loss? That would be the first question I would be asking myself. Do I need, because earlier in the year we were talking about using this as a tax loss harvest because of the pullback was so strong. If you've already covered all your capital gains and stuff, I would say no. If you look at what's been happening with BRBR, if you get beyond the typical news, we look at it bottomed out at about, 23, and then we saw it starting to climb back, and it's got all the way up to like 31, 32. So we're seeing a 30% comeback so far. It's still on a negative trend in the sense that over the long term, it's still hasn't turned around to be a positive trend. Even in the short term, it has. Short term, it's a positive trend, but long term, it still hasn't. But it looks like it may be able to get there, which is what I'm looking at. One of the reasons we had problems with BRBR is because of the negative shareholder equity. That's a serious situation with a high debt level. But what they are doing is trying to reduce that. It looks like their management is getting in line a little bit. Their debt at this point is well covered by operating cash flow, and its interest payments on its debt are well covered by EBITDA. So it's looking like it may have a very positive strength. This is one of those stocks that I had given up on, by the way, just to let you know, Darren. I thought, I just decided it wasn't worth holding anymore. My idea was to go straight to a sell with this. The one or two stocks I did that with, boy, did people, they got their torches out and their pitchforks. So, and I understand why, but it was a necessity with those. It wasn't with this. I had just given up on it. But here's what's happened is things are starting to turn around a little bit. We're looking at earnings growth of like 44%. Earnings per share, that comes out to be about 27.19%. We're looking at a turnaround on. And let's take a look at it as, let's assume you never invested in this and you're looking at it right now. You might be looking at it going, wow, 30% growth in just a few months. Maybe it's time I jumped on this train, So looking at it like that, looking that they're coming around a little bit, I think I'd just go ahead and hold it. We are long-term investors. Right. That's why we put something on hold, is to analyze it more and to see if the management and the leadership team are able to get it together. And it looks like we're seeing some positive out of it. And I got to tell you, that's really hard for me to sell because in my mind I had given up on it. and that's why I went to hold. Seth can tell you, we had discussions about this stock, and I'm like, no, Darren, I just don't see any use in the stock anymore. But now it's turned around and looking like it should do what it could do. Who knows? Maybe in a very short period of time, we'll get your money back and be headed to profits.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too this, Darren, I'm a long-term investor. I've got some shares in this one. I don't plan on, selling out of mine. It's been down for me too, but I'm seeing the same thing. It's coming back up. And I feel very confident about holding this one also. That might be something for you to consider also, brother. The sound of your voice sounds like you're maybe a little bit younger. I don't know what your age is, but that could just be something also. If you've got a long time horizon, why not hold it?
Right. No, I'm in my mid-50s, so, man, that's a great compliment.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, you have vibrant. A young voice. You have that young Texas voice that sounds like you're about 6'2" and in perfect shape.
Probably muscular, broad shoulders.
Could wrestle a large cattle down with your bare hands, So we're glad you're with us. Thanks for calling. And I'm glad you brought that up because, sometimes we look at something and our emotions get in the way. Well, right now it's on hold. I think if I see it climb a little bit more, I could come up with a good reason to put it back on the buy list.
Okay, wonderful.
So bottom line, if you don't need it to help offset capital gains, I would just continue to sit on it.
Okay, perfect. Well, y'all have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Thank you so much for giving us a call.
That's awesome. Mark, interesting stuff here that we're seeing, not to change subjects so quickly, but I do find, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a mental change here, Mark, because I have to bring this up. This was so cool. So yesterday was Giving Tuesday. We didn't really do a whole big push to give to financial issues yesterday.
Well, no, because we have so many partners and so many ministries that we believe in and that we give to.
That's exactly right. So well, sure enough, our partners came through. They ended up donating a lot of money. It was over $25,000 just yesterday to financial issues. So to those of you who gave yesterday, thank you. That is awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Just awesome. So anyway, just wanted to share that. But Mark, interesting stuff. We teed this up at the top of the show here. So Elon Musk came out recently and said that AI and robots are our only hope to get out of debt, the only way out of debt. So he said in a recent interview, he thinks the productivity gains from AI bots will be the only way for the U.S. to outgrow the national debt. He said, quote, if you have AI and robotics and a dramatic increase in the output of goods and services, probably you will have deflation, seems likely, because you simply won't be able to increase the money supply as fast as you can increase the output of goods and services. He said this could start to happen in 3 years or less. So, Mark, I'll ask you this. Is AI our Lord and Savior for getting out of debt?
Well, I can see what he's talking about. But we have to be careful because he is a businessman and he is building robots to be selling to industries and to individuals. So he has a conflict of interest there at the very least. But, do I like Elon? I just love Elon Musk and the stuff he does and the things he says. I can see where productivity would be very high with robots. So I see where he's going with this. I don't know if the time frame he's talking about is here yet. Maybe. And obviously, he does know more about what's going on in the robot world than we do. So it could create a lot of productivity, which in itself could help us work our way out of this debt. But that's only one side of the issue. The other side is the spending that goes on in our government. Luckily, we have Elon over here trying to help productivity in industry and individuals. And then we have Trump over here trying to reduce the expenses of the government. Sometimes not, because he spends a lot of money too.
Maybe,
but I know
maybe not, right?
Yeah, but actually, I think he is. It's just sometimes you got to spend money to get to the point to where you can cut out all the waste. I get what you have to staff the people to go in and audit the companies, to audit the NGOs, to audit the different parts of the government, to find all these little hidden multi-billion-dollar donations or transfers or grants and that kind of stuff. We have to build up the police. We have to build up ICE. We have to build up everybody that we need to run the government. So I think he's on to something. I really believe people should pay more attention to people like Elon Musk than maybe some of the others who don't care about our country. And
he obviously knows how to make money, Mark, right? I mean, he really knows that.
He knows how to make money.
Knows how to get rid of waste and fraud and that sort of thing.
Right, and he's very big into productivity. When you sleep on your own when you're a multi-billionaire sleeping on your factory floor so that you can be there working on stuff, you really have a heart for the USA. Just like our partners, Seth. Our partners have a heart for the USA,
Amen,
but
brother.
even more so, a heart for God. And that's where it really works. Don't just let your focus stop on Washington. We got to keep it on God, because it's only by our focus on God that we will be able to influence this culture to be God-honoring and let the wonderful things flow from godly stewardship like our partners do, like you and I do, by investing with biblical integrity. Thank you for your love for God. Thank you for your desire to honor God with your investments. We'll see you tomorrow. You might as well get the phones already lit up for tomorrow, because we're expecting you to call in. God bless everyone.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.